Hello everyone, it's Monica from Yellow Brick DIY, and today I'm going to show you how to paint the adorable Addams Family sign. So if you're watching this, you got a DIY kit from me, and we're just going to dive right in so that I can show you step by step how to make this sign. So for time's sake, I went ahead and painted each of these pieces just with one coat of black, okay? So when you do that, only give this frame one coat of black, and you'll see why in a second. So now that this part is dry, I'm going to go and do coat number 2. And it's going to be exactly the same way that we do coat number 1, so that's why I just went ahead and did it for time's sake. So you have a foam brush in your kit and some black paint. You're going to dip that foam brush into your black paint. I'm going to slide this down a little so you can see. Please excuse the mess around me. And you're literally just painting. Now, there are lines that are scored onto this. I'm sure you can see some of these lines. That's just to help you with placement of your letters, and you can paint right over them. The paint kind of seeps into them once it's dry, and then the letters come back to life. So don't worry about not painting over them. It is not a big deal, and you totally want to do that. So when you put coat number 2 on, you can see quickly that it really darkens this up. So that's why we only do one coat on the frame, because after we're done distressing that frame, it almost looks like it's gray versus solid black, and it pops really nicely on this. So you just give yourself a few dips when you need to of the paint, and you don't want to go too heavy on the paint, but you'll be able to tell if you've missed any spots because it darkens up so much after the first coat is on there. You'll be able to tell. Now you can totally keep one coat if you like the look. On coat number 1, you can really see the grain of wood. It almost looks a little stained. And if you like that look, you can do the complete opposite of what I'm doing here, meaning you can give this main part of your sign one coat, go ahead and give the frame 2 coats so that it's just the complete opposite. You'll have a lighter backing here, and then you'll have a darker frame. That would look really nice as well. This is just the way that I chose to do it. But as always, this is your piece in your home, so you need to love it. These are just my tips for you. Okay, so that should be pretty good for coat number 2. I'm just gonna go down here in a couple little spots I see. And this paint dries like really quick, so if you do miss a spot, you'll be able to see it pretty quickly. The key for this, guys, is to just make sure that there's no pools of paint. You don't want to see globs because it'll dry that way. So I always go back and just smooth out just to make sure. All right, so we're going to toss that to the side. We're going to let that dry. And now we're going to bring the frame over. Now remember, I went ahead and I gave this one coat of black paint. Now in your kit, you're also going to have a brush that looks like this. This is called a chip brush. And you want to take a tiny bit of white paint. Dip your chip brush in there. Just coat the bristles, right? Not too much. And take a paper towel and dab that paint off. This is called dry brushing. Now when you take this brush after you dab that off and you just start to hit that board, you're going to start to see a distress. So I'm going to go a little heavier just so it shows up on the video. And you're just going to like kind of messy go up and down. There is no really like way to mess this up because the whole point of this is that we're messing up this wood. We're distressing it. We want it to look worn. We want it to look weathered. So the key to this is to always dab off that extra paint there on your paper towel. And then you just go up and down. And there really is no right or wrong. The only way that this, I don't want to say will look bad, but won't look exactly like this, if this is the look you're going for, is if you don't dab off or you use too much paint. So go in light coats. Like I've been doing this for a while, so I know like how much paint to use. But remember, you can always add more. It's just harder to take it off. But see how that kind of gave it like a complete gray tone to it? It's pretty cool. It changes the color. It works. It's Halloween. It's supposed to be rusticy and weathered looking. So I'll even go into some spots and kind of just like take my bristles and give it a little tap. I'll go in a couple different directions, just in a couple spots. So I've been going vertical. I'll just take my brush and go horizontal a little bit, just to give it a little bit of a weathered look. And so I'll get a little up close there, and you can see how that just distresses that. So easy, but it's so cool. It just makes it look so different. So this is still a tad wet, but we can just put this over it. Isn't that amazing? It's still the same color black, but it looks gray. So that's just a fun little tip, and you have all the supplies to do that in this kit if you choose to. So I'm going to toss that frame to the side. And now comes the fun part. And yes, I say that sarcastically because this is a little bit of a pain, but it's worth it because these 3D letters look so stinking cute on this side. So here is how your lettering comes. It comes with this painter's tape on it, and the point of the tape is to hold everything together. Now, the best thing about this sign is that I do not paint these letters. This is a laser cut machine, and so it kind of browns around the lettering, kind of giving it a worn Halloween-y look. So just the letters as is there on that black sign is how I've done it in my example. If you want to paint these letters, you are more than welcome to. Gray, silver, white, whatever, orange, whatever color you choose. But in the example, I do not paint these letters at all. So very, very carefully, you want to take this painter's tape off of your letters. Now, you'll have some insides of letters that you don't need. For example, right here, the inside of that P, right? You're not going to need that. But just be aware of the tiny parts, like the apostrophes. There's 3 apostrophes on here. And there's also a dot for the I on the word mysterious. So when you're pulling this off, just make sure that you're not taking any of those parts that you will need with it. You want to make sure that those little parts stay with you because they're important on the sign. Just like this, we're going to peel that off and make sure our important things stay. Something comes up on that tape and you don't want it to, just push it back down. Okay, so now we have 2 options on how to apply these letters. And honest to God, guys, you have to just do what makes you comfortable. So there is an error-proof way, which is a little more time-consuming, but good if you've never done a craft with me and you've never tried this technique before. You may want to start out with my error-proof technique. If you have done these crafts with me before and you're pretty confident in your skills, you may want to try the other technique. So I'm just going through now and I'm making sure that all of my pieces are not attached to this. And you know, one of my little lines just fell on the floor, but I will pick that up in a second so I don't waste time searching for it with you. So there's a what not to do, guys. Don't drop the pieces. Okay, I hope you can still see this. So let me show you the error-proof way. The error-proof way. All of the lines for these letters are scored onto this wood. So that's going to make sure that if you follow this when you're gluing these letters, they're going to be straight, they're going to be evenly spaced apart, and there's really not much worry and thinking on your end. You're going to take these letters one by one. I have a big thing of glue, obviously, but yours is a little smaller, and a little bit, dab, dab, dab. Now here's a trick. Take the little tray that I give you in your kit and swipe that glue off just a little bit so that there's no seepage that comes out, so that the glue doesn't kind of splatter out of there when you put it down onto your board. But so I'll line my letters up, glue it down, follow that line, and that's it. You're gonna follow that for the entire board. Now, that's one way. The other way is to use this backing board as a template. And so you'll take your frame, you'll put it on your backer board like this, and this template fits right inside of here. Now you won't glue your frame onto this yet. You'll just use it to make sure that everything is spaced the way that it's supposed to be. And then you will take your glue put it on the letter, same deal, swipe it so the seepage comes out, and you'll actually place that letter right in here. Now, obviously you may think, oh, well, that's obviously the easiest way. I will tell you why sometimes this is not. Once your first few letters are glued down, you'll be able to take the frame off. This is important because, sorry guys, I'm like out of space here. This is important because once you keep moving a few letters at a time, you'll want to lift this template up to ensure that it is not being glued down to your actual board. So if you haven't worked with the glue and the wood lettering before, you might want to do my first technique first, only because if you're a little heavy-handed on that glue and the glue seeps out, it's going to try to glue this on and you're going to have some wood stuck, and sometimes even this can get stuck. So although a complete option that does work and work well, if you haven't done this before or you're a little heavy-handed, I would just use those scored lines and take it that route. If you feel confident and you want to do this, by all means, please do. Just keep in mind, again, tiny bit of glue, swipe it off on your little tray, and keep lifting up every few letters just to ensure that this main board isn't getting glued to your backer board, okay? So when that is all done, you'll glue your frame around the edge, and if you give me 2 seconds, I will show you the final product, which is, ta-da! This is it. This is how it looks. You'll glue your frame, make sure that it's lined up here, nice and flat. It's all cut perfectly, so there should be no error there, and that's it. It's super cute. It is over 1/4 inch thick, so if you want to lean it up against something, you totally can, or if you want to hang it on something, just use a command strip, which you can buy on Amazon for relatively cheap. And that is all, guys. If anyone has any questions, as always, please message me and send me pictures. I love to see your final products. Thank you so much for supporting my business by buying this kit. Make sure you share it with your friends, and enjoy. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Bye.